The Agro-Industrialization Program, AGI, is slowly beginning to have an impact that is leading to the transformation of the agriculture sector from subsistence farming into full commercial farming through enhanced production and productivity and value addition. The Agro-Industrialization Program was launched in 2020.
We have a population that is food and nutrition secure, that has registered increased income from the produce. We have also specialized in some areas. We are no longer advising farmers to grow whatever they grow. We are looking at soil suitability mapping for the country, and we have selected enterprises according to suitability of the area.
Under the program, now in its fourth year, agriculture real GDP has continued to grow. In financial year 2022-2023, agriculture real GDP grew by 5.0 from 4.2, which was registered in financial year 2021-2022. In 2020-2021, when the program was launched, the growth was 3.5%. The growth is due largely to the increase in agriculture production. It was driven mainly by increased food production, livestock production, and the recovery in fishing activities.
These reviews, not just the Japar, but all the reviews in government, are now geared towards seeing whether that program has worked, whether the development program has worked, the NDP3 has worked, to see what we need to do.
Production of priority commodities increased an average of 26%. Though below the target of 30%, this was due to increased farmer access to water for production and access to critical inputs and advances in control of crop and animal pests and diseases. Agricultural enterprises that contributed most were coffee, beans, bananas, cotton, milk, beef and fish. Agriculture value addition increased by 11% from 35,144 billion shillings in 2020 to 2021 to 39,028 billion in 2021-2022. It increased to 43,946 billion in financial year 2022-2023. Additionally, efforts have been put into reducing shortage of storage infrastructure and poor post-harvest management. As a result, post-harvest losses for priority commodities reduced by about 18.2%. The Agro-Industrialization Program ties in well with the Parish Development Model, PDM. It is an important platform in enabling vulnerable households in the country to be supported to effectively benefit from programs like agro-industrialization. In 2022-2023, 1,058.125 billion shillings was released to district local governments by 30th June 2023 and dispersed to 10,585 savings and credit cooperatives, SACCOs. Most of them are agriculture-related and are being empowered to demand and receive services under the Agro-Industrialization Program. Under the AGI program, there have been milestones through the development and distribution of superior genetics to farmers. Productivity is being enhanced by adoption of new inputs such as fertilizers and labor-saving technologies that have helped to increase their productivity. Storage capacity baseline showed 550,000 metric tons exceeded the target set of 1,050,000 metric tons for 2021-2022 and achieved 1,230,000 metric tons of storage facilities in 57 districts. Today, this capacity has further increased to 1,236,129, up by the 14% from the previous financial year. Under crop production, cutting-edge research and development has produced high-quality genetics and planting materials for these commodities that have helped farmers to enhance their production and productivity.
Because of issues of climate change, You need genetics which are resilient. You need seeds which will not die because of this sunshine.
The research is spearheaded by the National Agriculture Research Organization and its affiliate zonal research and development institutes around the country. For coffee, the mainstay of export revenues, the National Coffee Resources Research Institute, NACORI, has produced superior high-yielding wilt-resistant coffee varieties known as the KR varieties. These are responsible for the explosion in the coffee production which the country is witnessing today. Working with the Uganda Coffee Development Authority, 3 high-yielding disease-resistant Arabica varieties have also been released for distribution to farmers. From around 4 million 60-kilogram bags, Uganda now produces towards 8 million bags per annum thanks to NACORI. Export revenues have also grown significantly from $883.3 million in the previous year to $965.14 million between January 2023 and December 2023, according to the latest figures from the Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA.
We have been distributing these varieties through the private nursery operators under a partnership with the UCDA, and we believe these varieties contributed to the current increase in export of coffee from Uganda from around 4 to towards 8 million bags of 60 kilograms each.
Under the coffee roadmap, Uganda intends to attain 20 million bags by 2030 and emerge among the top 3 producers of coffee globally. Not only that, the varieties have superior yields and quality, which has helped to spawn specialty coffee production in the country. These are aimed at premium markets abroad and are bringing even better incomes for the farmers involved and the country at large. A good example of farmers who are producing for specialized markets is Chikobero Coffee Company in Bulambuli district, producing for premium markets in Europe. With a membership of 420 registered farmers, they produce mainly Arabica AA's and AAA's. Only ripe red cherries are picked, then they are meticulously sorted to get quality beans.
Our coffee is accredited by Uganda National Bureau of Standards. We are accredited by Uganda's Coffee Development Authority. We are accredited by Specialty Coffee Association. We now have AVAPA, which is the international contest of coffee roasted at origin. We now have that seal of international, so our coffee is allowed everywhere. So from the taste, our coffee is accredited for all.
Coffee, Uganda's leading export commodity, is showing great promise as investors leverage production from premium markets abroad. The great bulk of Uganda's coffee exports is mainly the green bean, but players have emerged in the specialty area of coffee production and export. Coffee is grown and produced to certain strict standards and must be traceable in order to access premium markets abroad where it earns top dollars. Clark Farm in Chenjojo is a privately owned Robusta coffee farm producing coffee for export in gourmet consumers in the Gulf states. Meticulous care is taken in the post-harvest handling of the berries and preparations before it is packaged for exports.
It's good agronomic practices, and then when you pick your coffee, pick in the red cherry. When you look there, when the traders come in, it was red. And you don't pick the green stuff. And this stripping and picking green gives you very bad, poor tasting coffee. And then the post-harvest handling, how you dry it, it's at the right percentage moisture, you store it in the right conditions, and then finally you make it into green bean or you roast it and you sell it.
The buyers even take time to come and confirm how the coffee is produced and handled before export.
I was invited from Dr. Ayan Clark, and it was really a very good opportunity to see his farm and how he's creating very good fine Robusta from Uganda, and he's improving his quality time by time, and I can see that while checking the farm.
Titan Coffee in Kampala is one of the leading exporters of roasted coffee, mainly to the Middle East and Gulf states. They export strictly Arabica coffee from Kapchora district.
We are sourcing premium coffee from Mount Elgon mostly. It's actually our main source of green beans is from Mount Elgon, mostly from Kapchora. And we source only premium type of coffee. That is what they call in the world the specialty coffee.
Mainstream exporters of the green bean are also slowly engaging in production and export of roasted coffee. Chajilanyi has a subsidiary that does this under the Volkef brand. Volkef also provides coffee roasting services for exporters without such facilities.
In addition, Volcafe has been trying to do some barista trainings to enable the Horeca chain have people that are well trained to brew coffee and serve coffee.
Women-led and owned organizations are not to be left out. Mugambe Organic Coffee sources green coffee beans from the slopes of Mountain Rwenzori in Kabarore district.
Production is increasing and also our clients are increasing. We have very many Ugandans loving the coffee because the coffee is very good. It has won some good awards.
Quite certainly, the volume and value of coffee can only grow as the country rapidly approaches the $1 billion mark in export revenues. At National Coffee Resources Research Institute, coffee products that could even add more value to the commodity have been developed and are ready for investors to take up. They include cosmetics products and food products.
We know coffee is competitive in terms of beauty products because it has some anti-aging properties. This is scientifically proven, and we have seen it already. We've put these products, prototypes on the market, and the feedback that we have is that the skins of men and women are becoming smoother and brighter. And if you look at it, this is the first of its kind Robusta coffee lotion.
Maize. It is the most important grain in the country and is the main staple food in Uganda and the region. Not only that, it is also the main source of raw material for the production of animal and fish feeds. In 2022, data available from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics shows that 4.6 million tons of maize was produced. Tonnage has kept growing from the then high of 3.8 million tons produced in 2018.
2022, the recent data we have, we went up to 4.6 million. Now for 2 seasons.
Maize in Uganda is mainly produced by smallholder farmers ranging from 1 to 10 acres. But big players like the 5,000-hectare Asili Farms in Chiriandongo district have emerged to produce maize on a large scale for processors that require grain for a certain quality and standard. Quality of grain forms the bedrock of all their operations right from the start.
We start by sourcing good seed, and then when we plant that seed, we manage it through all the cycles. Of course, we do the planting, the spraying to manage the weeds, and we also do some spraying to manage the fungal diseases. So when we talk about aflatoxins, many times the farmers don't care so much about the fungal diseases, but this is where it gets. This is where the farmers get it wrong. You have to ensure that you prevent your maize against these fungal diseases by doing a fungicide application, and then when you do that, you plant on time. You ensure that you spray fungal applications, you'll be able to get the good quality grain.
Government has invested a lot in efforts to improve and develop the quality of maize seeds with 2 new maize varieties, Maize 63 Vita, Maize 64 STR, being distributed to farmers.
Our challenge in the industry has been mainly related to quality of maize and standards that meet the national and international market. And because of that also I've put a lot of effort to develop technologies to improve maize quality and grain handling. and we are currently doing a lot of work on biocontrol product we have developed, and which is about to be registered, called Aflasif. That will be commercialized and used in mitigation of aflatoxin, which is also a problem related to quality of maize in Uganda. So that work, we're also happy to report it is on very good progress and the results are very promising.
Grain Pulse, located in Mukono municipality, also does agro-processing. It buys bulk maize from the farmer it supports to be processed into human food and animal feeds, among others. The animal feeds plant produces 2,000 metric tons per month. It produces poultry, piggery and dairy and beef feed supplements.
We buy back from the farmers. Currently we buy back maize, and when we buy back this maize, what do we do with it? We process it, pack it and store it, but we also do value add. And under value add currently we have a very nice maize flour product. If you haven't tested it, please look for it. It's called Gemu flour. Gemu flour is a very good kind of flour, so you're sure, because you're buying from Grain Pulse, your flour is free of aflatoxin and perfect quality. Then we also do animal feed as a value add.
Biria United Agencies in Barra is an agribusiness dealing in a range of grains and vegetables. Its modern facilities grade and aggregate a range of grains, among other things. It also processes and packages them for the market.
We distribute mainly to government institutions like OPM, UPDF, police, and then to the open market. And our target market is Congo. So even right now we are delivering into Congo. We have a distributor.
There is room for more maize value addition. Products that can be produced include snacks, cornflakes and feeds. For instance, the newly developed naturally orange Maize 63 Vita has a range of potential products.
Maize also has gone to development of products like, the snacks. The one which comes to mind are the gorillas. It's a popular snack for, especially among children. And the gorilla is made from yellow maize. And the company that makes it imports close to 40 metric tons per month of that maize. And we think the maize we have recently released will go a long way also to reverse that situation, so that it can be produced locally and the farmers can benefit to be able to supply these industries that are making the snacks.
The goal of vegetable oil development in Uganda is to help win the country of the huge amount in foreign exchange incurred in importing crude vegetable oil to produce cooking oil and soap, among other things. Uganda currently spends more than $300 million per year in crude cooking oil imports. In northern and eastern Uganda, government has promoted oil seeds production with private sector players as the main stakeholders. The oil seed in question is mainly sunflower seed production. Some 73,880 kilograms of sunflower seed were distributed in order to grow 36,690 acres by 7 large-scale farmers and 28 farmer cooperatives in northern Uganda and in Nakapiripit and Bulambuli districts in eastern Uganda. Nearly 500,000 kilograms of soybean seed was availed for growing on 20,816 acres for 24 large-scale farmers and 19 farmer cooperatives in northern Uganda. Over 200,000 metric tons of oil seeds are produced annually by farmers. Alongside oil seeds is the palm oil production project, which began in Kalangala Island with over 11,000 acres under production. Out of these, 4,000 are being managed by local outgrowers. Cumulatively, the farmer members of Kalangala Oil Palm Growers Trust have harvested 390,067 metric tons, valued at 267.8 billion shillings between January 2010 and June 2023. The effort to produce crude palm oil has since been expanded to Buvuma Island, where 5,000 acres have been cleared and are being planted with palm oil. The main production is being undertaken by a private investor, Oil Palm Buvuma Limited. The company is responsible for developing and producing seedlings for its own use and also to be supplied to 750 local farmers who have registered to grow the crop.
Preparation for nursery actually based on the requirement and then the directive from the government. So when they achieve certain size of area, then we need to do the calculation for the seedlings requirement for both nucleus and outgrower estates.
Acheng Margaret is one of the enthusiastic farmers who have taken to palm oil growing. It is 2 years since she set up her plantation following sensitization on palm oil growing.
Kati byabasomesa we batusomesa ningamba nange kanime kukinaza abana bange bana abato oba oli awo nange nimbasomesako ne bagendako ki ne bagendako waggulu kye kyansikiriza nange ninkigula nintandika okulima ekinazi.
Tea is another important export crop for Uganda, though it has some downsides. Nonetheless, the strategy to expand production has yielded positive results in terms of doubling the acreage in the country under tea production. Today, as the result, over 500 million tea seedlings have been distributed to farmers in 21 districts in the country. Cutting-edge research is now looking at addressing the problem of mixing up seedlings varieties by nursery operators. It has now necessitated the development of a new system.
We are trying to establish a seed system within for tea in Uganda, working with other partners like the Ministry of Agriculture, to make sure that when we produce a genotype, it can be traced. What you need to understand is that Uganda has a competitive edge which is not exploited, because here we don't use a lot of chemicals. So our tea is demanded because it's almost organic. Then another thing that we have what we can call geographical indication, that when you go to some areas, some of the tea which is produced is unique in taste and aroma because of the area where they are produced. We have that. So as research, we need to tap into that.
Research is also developing tea varieties for niche markets where Uganda can earn even more revenue from tea exports, with development of purple and green tea at advanced stages.
Black tea can be sold in the auction for like $1 compared to purple tea, which can be taken for $7 to $10. So this is what we want farmers to go in, and then we will train them on how to process them at cottage level so that they can reach out to the niche market.
Under animal production, much has gone towards the improvement of breeds in order to increase dairy and meat production.
We are giving a lot of thrust to science, our researchers. Good breeds of animals, the average milk yield of our cows, good milkers, good Minyankore milkers is about 6-7 liters. But jaze, mzungu jaze, you can get 15 to 20 liters of milk per day.
The breeding program is spearheaded by the National Genetics Research Center and Database.
That has different breeds of animals that comprise of the dairy, the dual-purpose, and then the beef. So for the dairy, we have Asha, Jaze, Frisian, and Ganze. For the dual-purpose, we have Cimento, we have the Saiwal, and then we have the brown Swiss. These are kept for both meat and milk. And then we have the beef breeds, we have the Boran, we have the Brahman, we have the Black Angus, and many more.
15 breeding and production support structures have been constructed at each center farms out of 18 that were planned for the financial year 2021-2022. At Kasore's stock farm in Kamuli district, for example, several works were at various stages of completion while others were completed and operationalized. Genetic progress in livestock is being accelerated to increase availability and access to elite livestock seed. For this, NARO has established a livestock IVF platform to enable production of cost-effective and quality bovine embryos. It is the first of its kind in Uganda and has a capacity to produce 200,000 embryos annually at $100 per embryo. This compares favorably with imported embryos that cost $300 each. Private breeders are also licensed and are on hand to provide services across the country. For instance, Rubiera Dairy Investment in Kashari district has focused on breeding and supplying animals primarily for milk production.
Cape Frisians, Jerseys and Ashires. Those are the 3 breeds that we keep here at the farm.
Dairy farming is one of the priority agriculture enterprises where major milestones are being registered. Milk production in Uganda increased by a whopping 800 million litres and moved the country closer to a commercial production of nearly 4 billion litres per annum. This is due to improvements not only in breeds but also for pastures, animal health. For instance, stemming ticks and animal diseases such as foot and mouth disease is vital for Uganda's dairy sector to export regionally and internationally.
The policy shift has been that FMD vaccine is free and compulsory, but the government has not been giving enough vaccine to cover the national herd. Because we have not been able to cover the national herd, we have changed the policy so that the government procures one time off enough vaccine and avail them to farmers. Every farmer will be vaccinating his animal twice a year and at his own cost. The government will be responsible for the cost of administration, cold chain facilities, and also extension work. That means that Uganda will be secure from FMD because all the animals will be vaccinated.
The vaccine performed up to about 80% effectiveness, so it can be able to control the tick infestation on cattle in our country, and it can also it has the capacity to control disease transmission. You know, ticks transmit tick-borne diseases, so once you control the ticks, you are also able to control the diseases the ticks transmit.
A lot has also been done to improve milk post-harvest handling facilities for the dairy farmers.
And this has moved the milk production from we have come from 3.1 billion litres to 3.8 billion litres. And this is, of course, the marketed milk. But if you are looking at the grand scale of things in terms of annual production, including the milk that remains on the farm, we are looking at the development in excess of 5.4 billion litres annually.
The dairy sector has excelled in value addition with numerous products availed on the local market and for export to the region and further afield. Pearl Dairies and Amos Dairy in Western Uganda are some of the big producers of milk products in the country.
Our markets, for example, our casein, the market is in the US. Our ghee and butter, we have Egypt, Jordan. We have also markets for our casein in India. We also export to Kenya, especially the SMP and some of the powders. We also export to Saudi Arabia as well. Markets are opening up also in Zim and part of Southern Africa.
Currently, preparations are on to export dairy products to Algeria, which has offered a $500 million quota per annum and set to be a game changer for the country.
Since that time, we've been working on the technical aspects of access to the Algerian market. It is a $500 million US market, and this translates to about 1.8 billion litres. This is a very substantial market for us, where they are going to be taking whole powdered milk because they need that milk for constitution into other dairy products.
Significant progress has also led to increased beef production as the result of farmers improving their beef herds and pastures. Farmers are also being supported to adopt modern beef farming methods like bull fattening.
Feedlots make a business sense in that you have many animals being fed at the same time. And since you are feeding on special concentrated feeds, those animals for sure gain weight more than they would have gained weight when they are feeding in the fields.
These programs are based on the fact that Uganda has the capacity to be a major supplier of beef and dairy products for both regional and global markets. In the same vein, significant effort and progress has been registered in increasing meat production overall, with pork and poultry playing a significant part. Poultry is also a vital source of meat, and NAGRIC has developed, multiplied and promoted poultry varieties which are being availed to farmers. While meat might not be providing so much in terms of value addition and manufacturing, rejected and damaged hides and skins have spawned off a successful manufacturing enterprise along the meat value chain. Sky Fat Tanneries in Jinja is one of the clearest demonstrations that any part of the value chain can be developed into flourishing industrial production. The skins are sourced for butcheries, slaughterhouses and other tanneries around the country. The tanneries produce high-grade gelatine to strict standards for the international market. Gelatine is a vital ingredient in the food and pharmaceuticals industries around the world.
As of now, we are making gelatin from bovine hides, but we're also planning to do fish. We tested it, the market is there, so the sky is the limit.
For fisheries, particularly farmed fish or aquaculture, the National Fisheries Resources Research Institute has identified and developed quality fish seed, mainly mirror carp, African catfish and Nile tilapia, which have been availed to farmers to support fish farming across the country. The Kajansi facility works with certified private hatcheries like Rock Springs Fish Farm in Tororo, in eastern Uganda, which specializes in the production and supply of Nile tilapia fingerlings to fish farmers across the country. Supplies of seed and vital information, technologies and skills provided by the National Fisheries Resources Institute have provided the means for big private companies and individual fish farmers to flourish. For example, Yarelo is one of the big players in fish cage farming with a massive establishment in Lake Victoria. With a capacity of 700,000 tons per annum for capture fish, long having been reached on Uganda's natural water bodies, the alternative is going to be through fish farming with a target to produce 1 million tons per annum.
Brazil exports 850,000 metric tons of tilapia. And yet tilapia is not native to Brazil, but they did it through selective breeding. So it's very, very important. Selective, when you breed, when you have good breed, you improve productivity and therefore you spend less time to get a lot of money.
As efforts are made to put in place protocols to certify farmed fish for the premium markets, investments are on course to set up value addition facilities like Yarelo Uganda on Lake Victoria. Besides farming its own fish, it has set up a fish processing facility to European Union specified standards. It is ready to ship processed tilapia fillet and other fish products when EU regulators give Lake Victoria waters the clean bill of health as source of farmed fish.
We have obviously challenges at the moment in terms of Uganda not being able to export to the European Union because of regulatory compliance, but God willing that's a government issue which is being addressed. But that is where the opportunity lies. Both the Middle East, Europe, UK, our fish is tasty, so the product is good, the facility is ready, We've had customers come and visit, or potential customers now visit on 5 or 6 occasions, including from Asia. So we are confident that the product from Yellow, but Uganda in general, is one which is of the right quality and can be produced economically for export.
For Uganda to increase agricultural production means increasing the acreage under use. Successful modern commercial farming requires enablers in order to be sustainable and worthwhile for farmers. Mechanization not only makes preparation and tilling of the land faster, it also eases harvesting and post-harvest handling. For instance, this array of combine harvesters are stationed at Amuru District Headquarters in northern Uganda, where large-scale grain farmers can hire them to harvest their produce. Overall progress for the mechanization centers averaged 58% by 30th June 2023 at different sites. The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries acquired 274 tractors and matching implements, 450 working tractors and a complete set of heavy earth-moving equipment to increase the area under cultivation from the current 35% to 60% have also been procured. The tractors are now in use by various beneficiaries. Additionally, 938 kilometers of farm access roads were opened, improved and rehabilitated. Provision of quality inputs is also one of the key enablers that government is trying to provide. Critically, the provision of quality certified inputs and fertilizers through certified agro-dealers and agents. Not only that, a number of farms have been licensed to blend fertilizers locally for the various crops under production. Grain Pulse is a recently established agro-business established in 2017 and also works with the farmer. Apart from agro-processing, the company is a major provider of agricultural inputs like fertilizers.
Grain Pulse has a blending facility in Mukono. The blending facility is a 300,000 metric ton capacity plant, meaning it's able to blend crop-specific fertilizers for the entire country. Because yes, the Ugandan market hasn't reached 300,000 metric tons yet, so the investment is huge.
Provision of water for production is among the mitigation measures to address the challenges of climate change and food insecurity across the country. Consequently, this has helped to the construction and completion of medium and large-scale irrigation schemes across the country, as well as small and solar-powered irrigation projects. These have helped increase the land area under formal irrigation from 22,797 hectares in 2021-2022 to 22,976 hectares in 2022-2023. This was above the NDP3 target for 2022-2023 of 20,200 hectares. There is optimism that the NDP3 target of 27,424 hectares will be achieved by 2025. Clearly, these examples show how far the country has come in terms of enhancing value addition for Uganda's agriculture commodities through manufacturing and processing. The government is supporting this by promoting the facilitating efforts aimed at increased production and productivity of the agriculture sector. However, sector players believe a lot more can be achieved if the support from government is ramped up.
Cost of money, given the interest rates in Uganda, for us it is quite high for export business. At least if we can access interest rate between 8 and 10, that would help us to compete with the big trade houses who are able to access cheap offshore funds from their parent companies abroad.
Among the concerns are the cry for more incentives. While there are some tax incentives, the gains are deducted when imported packaging materials are heavily taxed.
The side of the processor, our taxes, we are doing a lot of, we have to bring in packages which are taxed, and then at the same, we don't produce good packaging here, good coffee packaging here. We process it either from China.
Also at issue is the low qualities and standards of production by the farmers. A lot needs to be done, not just at the post-production stages, but from the way commodities are produced and managed. Many modern agro-processors with an eye on premium and export markets face the challenge of widespread low quality of produce supplied by farmers.
What we expect from the farmers is not what they bring to us. The products are not of good quality as we want them. So we get issues, a number of issues, because most of the grains are contaminated, especially maize is the worst.
While the importance of mechanization is recognized in opening up more and for production and increasing farmer productivity, challenges still abound.
We are facing uncertainties in the international situation because of certain conflicts all over the world, which they don't affect us in terms of food, but they affect logistic chains, for example. They affect our ability to deliver what we have produced to the market. They affect our ability to get some inputs from them to here. So it implies that we need to graduate from depending so much from outside to having some capacity of ours and being able to interact with the outside world on our own terms.
The way around these bottlenecks might lie in strengthening current efforts or focusing on consolidating current support mechanisms.
We need to look at farming in terms of science. It's no longer an option to irrigate. The slogan in Uganda, fertile soil, good climate, can no longer stand. Our soils are exhausted, the population is increasing. We need to apply science to bring efficiency in our production system.
Otherwise, the industrialization program is the way to go, and it is going to be the perfect vehicle to fulfill the promise and objectives of the parish development model in lifting vulnerable households out of poverty.